Have you ever heard of someone using a Ouija board and accurately predicting the future? Well, let me tell you a real-life story that will make you question everything you thought you knew about these mysterious boards. These seemingly innocent board games have fascinated and terrified people for generations, as they're believed to communicate with spirits from beyond the grave to predict future events. But not everyone is convinced. Skeptics argue that Ouija boards are nothing more than a parlor trick, with users subconsciously moving the planchette to spell out answers. And then there's the controversy surrounding their accuracy. Can a board game really predict the future? Take the story of Sarah, a young woman who, in 1929, used a Ouija board to predict the stock market crash that would occur later that year. Despite her initial skepticism, she followed the board's advice and sold her stocks, ultimately saving her family from financial ruin. Or consider the case of Mark and Emily, a couple who turned to a Ouija board for guidance on whether to move to a new city. The board spelled out a series of cryptic messages that they initially dismissed, but as they followed its guidance, they found themselves landing dream jobs and making lifelong friends in their new home. But perhaps the most shocking prediction made through a Ouija board came from a group of friends who in 1999 used the board to contact a spirit named Lucy. Lucy warned them of an impending terrorist attack in New York City on September 11th. Dismissing it as mere coincidence, they brushed off the prediction until that fateful day when the Twin Towers fell. These stories tell how tapping the board's power have helped and even saved the user from calamity. But is this always the case? In the heart of bustling Osaka, Japan, lived a young woman named Taina. With dreams of becoming a model, she ventured across the ocean to the sun-kissed shores of California. Little did she know, her pursuit of fame would lead her down a path of darkness she could never have imagined. Taina's arrival in California was met with excitement and anticipation. She quickly immersed herself in the glamorous world of fashion, attending auditions and casting calls in hopes of catching her big break. However, amidst the glitz and glamour, she heard whispers of a mysterious Ouija board that could supposedly reveal one's fate with unnerving accuracy. Curiosity piqued, Taina sought out the Ouija board, eager to uncover its secrets. Ignoring the warnings of skeptics, she gathered with friends one evening to play with the board, the planchette gliding eerily across its surface. But as the night wore on, the atmosphere grew tense, and Taina felt a chill creep down her spine. The Ouija board's predictions started innocently enough, answering mundane questions about Tina's future in the fashion industry. Yet, as the session progressed, the messages took a dark turn. The planchette spelled out chilling warnings of tragedy and despair, foretelling a fate far worse than anything Taina could have imagined. Terrified and shaken, Taina tried to dismiss the Ouija's warnings as mere superstition. But as days turned into weeks, she couldn't shake the feeling of impending doom that hung over her like a dark cloud. Then, one fateful night, the Ouija board delivered its most terrifying prediction yet. It spelled out Taina's exact location and a chilling message. Death is near. As she read the words, a sense of dread washed over her, and she knew she had to take action before it was too late. Frantic, Taina sought out the help of a psychic, desperate for answers and guidance, but what she uncovered only confirmed her worst fears. The Ouija's prediction was coming true, and she was running out of time. In a desperate bid to escape her fate, Taina fled California. She boarded a plane to go home to Japan. She never made it home, as the plane she was on had a malfunction and crashed into the Pacific Ocean. In the city of Chicago, where the skyline meets the whispers of the unseen, lived Josh, a young man whose life was a blend of digital conquests and real-world mischief. An avid gamer, he thrived in the virtual realms, wielding his prowess to outmaneuver opponents with the same zeal he applied to his pranks. These were not just simple jokes. They were elaborate schemes designed for his growing TikTok audience, hungry for the next big thrill. One evening, in his quest for viral fame, Josh stumbled upon a man who posed as a police officer. The man was deep into a risky operation, one that would net him a fortune in the dark underbelly of Chicago's drug trade. Seeing an opportunity, Josh executed a prank that would not only expose the man's guise, but also derail the illicit deal, costing the imposter everything. Bria, Josh's girlfriend, with her fascination for the macabre and the mystical, embraced her identity as a Gothic witch. She believed in the power of the unseen, the whispers of the spirits, and the truths revealed in the shadows. One day, drawn by forces she believed were beyond the realm of the living, Bria acquired an ancient Ouija board, its surface etched with symbols that seemed to dance in the candlelight. That night, with a mix of skepticism and excitement, Josh joined Bria in summoning the spirits. The planchette moved with eerie precision, spelling out a prophecy so chilling it froze the air around them. It foretold Josh's demise, not in vague terms, but with a disturbing clarity. He was to be captured, and in a final act of vengeance, burned alive, his screams echoing into the void. Laughing it off as a mere trick of the mind, or at the very least, Bria attempting to get him in a joke of her own, Josh refused to let the prediction dampen his spirit. Yet as the days passed, a series of unsettling events began to unfold, each one aligning with the Ouija board's grim forecast. Shadows seemed to lurk around every corner, and whispers filled the air, yet Josh pressed on, his belief in the tangible world unwavering. Then, one fateful night, the prophecy came to pass. The man, consumed by revenge, captured Josh. In a deserted warehouse, the grim prediction of the Ouija board became a horrifying reality. Josh was subjected to a torment that ended with flames consuming him, just as foretold. His last thoughts were of disbelief and regret, wishing he had heeded the warning. Bria, shattered by the loss and haunted by guilt, could not touch the Ouija board again. It sat there, silent and ominous, a reminder of the fate it had spelled out with such accuracy. She wondered if the spirits had tried to warn them, to change the course of events, or if some destinies were simply carved in the stone of the unseen world. How about the story of Michael from Pensacola, Florida? One evening, Michael, intrigued by the supernatural, purchases a Ouija board. Seeking answers to trivial questions, he unwittingly opens a door to a prediction that's anything but trivial. The board spells out a chilling message: "Sister, danger, stalker, tonight." Initially, Michael dismisses it as a macabre coincidence, but as he probes further, the board reveals a location: a town 100 miles away, exactly where his sister had planned to spend her evening. The board revealed a frightening prediction of a stalker who preys upon his sister Rhonda. It details a vicious rape, then a strangulation, but the most terrifying of this prophecy was the time of her death, 10:14. Michael looked at the clock. It was 9:45. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Michael attempts to contact his sister, but his calls go unanswered. Frantic, he reaches out to the police in her area, begging them to intervene. Minutes turn to hours, then finally a phone call. It was his mother. She was sobbing and barely understandable, but he knew what she was telling him. His sister was dead. That evening, the murder was all over the news. A girl raped and murdered. The police was looking for the killer. A detective gave the time of death, 10:14. Michael's story leaves us with more questions than answers. How did the Ouija board know about the danger facing his sister miles away? Was it a coincidence? Or did it tap into something beyond our understanding? This tale not only challenges our skepticism, but also reminds us of the unpredictable nature of fate and the unseen forces that might just influence our lives. And how about the tale of Abigail from Salem? In the shadowed heart of Salem, Massachusetts, a town infamous for its witch trials and supernatural lore, lived Abigail, a woman whose arrogance matched the historical weight of her surroundings. Proclaiming herself a witch, Abigail was not just a believer in the occult. She was its ardent disciple, convinced of her own powers to bend the unseen world to her will. Her latest obsession was a Ouija board, through which she claimed to control the future with her predictions. Yet, her overconfidence would soon lead her down a path from which there was no return. Abigail's tale took a dark turn on a stormy night, as these stories often do, when she decided to use her Ouija board, not just to communicate with the spirits, but to enact vengeance upon a man who had wronged her. With candles flickering in the drafty room of her ancient Salem home, she called upon the spirits to harm her foe. But the planchette moved with a will of its own, spelling out a name that chilled her to the bone: Zozo, a demon of ancient lore, known for its malevolent tricks and thirst for chaos. Believing herself to be in control, Abigail commanded Zozo to torment the man, unaware of the true nature of what she had summoned. Her arrogance blinded her to the warnings of history and the cautions of the more seasoned practitioners of the occult. Zozo, however, was not a spirit to be commanded. The demon saw in Abigail not a master, but a new victim for its malevolent pleasures. In the days that followed, Abigail's life unraveled. Her reputation, once that of a powerful witch, crumbled as strange, inexplicable occurrences began to surround her. Friends turned away, fearful of the dark cloud that seemed to hang over her. But worse was to come. The demon she believed to control turned its attention towards her, its sinister intentions clear. Shadows moved in the corners of her eyes, whispers filled her ears, and her once powerful confidence dissolved into terror. Abigail sought help from the local occult community, desperate to rid herself of the demon she had inadvertently bound to her soul. But Zozo was a cunning adversary, one step ahead of every ritual, every spell cast to banish it. It became clear that Zozo had no intention of leaving until it had claimed what it desired most: Abigail's life. The final act of this tragic tale occurred on a night much like the one that had started it all. Abigail, alone and forsaken, attempted one last ritual to sever the tie between her and Zozo. But the demon, ever the trickster, turned her spell against her. The last anyone saw of Abigail was her silhouette against the backdrop of her home, engulfed in ethereal flames that seemed to consume not just her body, but her very soul. When dawn broke, Abigail was gone. No trace of her remained, save for the charred ruins of her home and the Ouija board, undamaged by the fire, the planchette resting ominously on the letter Z. Abigail's story became a whispered warning in Salem, a reminder of the dangers of overestimating one's power over the unseen, and the price of arrogance when dealing with forces beyond human comprehension. The tale of the self-proclaimed witch who summoned Zozo only to be consumed by the very power she sought to control serves as a chilling lesson to all who tread the path of the occult, that some doors, once opened, can never be closed. Finally, imagine seeking fun at the vibrant Mardi Gras in Louisiana, only for a Ouija board to predict a dark fate. This is the chilling tale of Marianne Richter. Mardi Gras, a time of revelry and celebration, attracts thousands to Louisiana. Among them was Marianne, who, driven by curiosity and the festive spirit, engaged with a Ouija board. Skeptics often dismiss such boards as mere playthings, attributing their movements to psychological phenomena. But what Marianne encountered was far from a simple parlor game. The board delivered a grave prediction: her own murder. Intrigued and unnerved, Marianne and her friends pressed the board for details, hoping it was just a grim joke. The planchette spelled out more specifics: serial killer, 3 days, Mardi Gras. Dismissing it as a morbid prank fueled by the festivities' excesses, Marianne tried to put it out of her mind. Yet, as Mardi Gras unfolded with its cacophony of colors and sounds, Marianne couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. 3 days later, Marianne vanished. Her disappearance during the peak of Mardi Gras chaos went unnoticed at first. When she was found, it was as the Ouija board had predicted: face down, nude, at an illegal dump site. The specifics of the prediction, once a source of skeptical amusement, became the cornerstone of a baffling investigation. Marianne Richter's story leaves us pondering the unexplainable nature of her Ouija board encounter. Her tragic fate during Mardi Gras, predicted with unsettling accuracy, challenges our understanding of the supernatural. It serves as a haunting reminder of the mysteries that lie beyond our perception, and the somber truth that sometimes, even in the midst of life's loudest celebrations, darkness lurks. Were these stories real or coincidence? Or did the Ouija board truly foresee the unimaginable? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more investigations into the mysteries that surround us. Until next time, keep questioning the unknown.